Okay. Hello, everybody. Now, I hope that I don't lose my feed again. This is the second time that I've had to restart the video. But again, this is Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette Training and Consulting. And I thought that I would just drop this video onto my Facebook page because this is the second time in as many weeks as I have been asked about making proper introductions, especially during the holiday season. And I understand that for many of you in your business situations and even in family situations where you want to be meeting people perhaps that you haven't seen for a long time, or some people that you've never met before, you want to make sure that you are on top of your etiquette protocols and behaviors for making introductions. The rules are very simple. There's 5 basic rules to remember, and they're really very easy. They're really very easy. One of the first things that you want to remember when making introductions is that younger people get introduced to older people. Let's say that your Aunt Betty is in town and she's never met your daughter, or she hasn't seen her since she was a baby. And so you just want to reintroduce her, and you're simply going to say, "Aunt Betty, I'd like for you to meet my daughter, Danielle." That's a very simple one. Younger people getting introduced to older people. In the work environment, you're going to apply the same situation in general circumstances. In a more corporate setting, or perhaps in a political setting, in any situation. Oh, I'm sorry, my phone is going off. I hope that you all can't hear that. But anyway, in a situation where it's a corporate setting, you want to remember that lower ranking people get introduced to higher ranking people. Lower ranking people get introduced to higher ranking people. So when you have the vice president of the company, you have the president of the company, the founder, the director of the company, they are the highest ranking people, or board members. Everyone else beneath them is going to be introduced to them. Lower ranking people, the office clerks, the receptionists, the general manager, they're all going to be introduced to the president, to the vice president, to the board members. You always want to use, if applicable, their title and their first and last name. So you would simply say, "This is the founder and the president of the company." You're going to say, "President John Marshall, I would like for you to meet Mr. Donald Keys." Okay, he works in our receiving department. Plain and simple. Okay. One thing that I tell clients, a very easy way to remember that particular rule is always remember, if the president were in the room with you and you were making introductions, everybody will be introduced to the president. "Victoria Dubose, I would like for you to meet President Barack Obama." Okay. "President Barack Obama, I would like for you to meet Victoria Dubose." That's the correct way. I said my name first. That's the incorrect way. The president, you're always going to use his name first. And another thing in making introductions is that you always want to show deference by using the person's name first. Okay. But lower ranking to higher ranking, and when applicable, you can include their rank. So like I said, president. You also want to remember that when you're making introductions, it is always customary to stand when you are making introductions or when you are being introduced. So if it is a lunch or a dinner, or you are out for drinks, or whatever the situation is, and you are being introduced or you are making introductions, it is customary, it is polite to stand. You don't have to be nervous. Making introductions is not a big deal. But you may be nervous because you're meeting someone for the first time. And so just take a deep breath, relax, calm yourself, and remember to just keep it moving nice and smooth. The other rule that you want to remember is that men are always introduced to women. So you are simply going to say, "Mr. John Smith," you're going to say, men are always introduced to women. So you're going to say, "Miss Smith, I'd like for you to meet Mr. Williams." Miss Smith, I'd like for you to meet Mr. Williams. That is the other rule. The other rule is that there's only 2 more left. When you walk into a room, or you walk into a situation where you are going to need to be introduced. No one knows you. You don't know anyone else. You simply introduce yourself. You walk into the room. Hi, I'm Joshua Williams. Plain and simple. You want to look into the eye of the person that you are speaking to and offer your hand to shake the hand. In a casual situation, you might be on a first name basis, but when it is a business situation or it's more corporate or it's more formal, you always want to use a first and a last name. You just want to make sure that you are exhibiting proper etiquette protocol in so doing, okay? The last rule is that sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we've forgotten the other person's name. You're taking someone to meet someone, and all of a sudden your mind goes blank and you just can't remember their name. You know that you know their name, and walking over there, you're thinking, I know that I know his name. I know that I know his name. I know that I know his name. But now you're standing there with Miss Nancy Wilson, who you'd like to introduce to Mr. Williams, but you have forgotten Mr. Williams's name. Or maybe you've forgotten his last name and you can only remember his first name. Please do not introduce using the first name only. In that case, you simply present the person that you were going to introduce them to. So you would just simply say, may I present Miss Nancy Wilson? That is a clue for Mr. Window to recognize and realize, oh my gosh, I can't believe Josh has forgotten my name. And so he, in turn, being well-mannered, will turn around and introduce himself. Say hello to Miss Nancy Wilson. I am Wendell Williams. Plain and simple, right? So those rules are very basic. They're very simple to remember. Younger people get introduced to older people. Lower ranking people get introduced to higher ranking people. You always introduce yourself. Men always get introduced to women. When you've forgotten a person's name, you present the person that you are going to introduce to the person whose name you have forgotten. You never introduce using just her first name, and you always introduce yourself. Standing is customary and polite, and that's it. It's just that simple on making introductions. Those are the proper protocols and manners for making introductions. They're not just applicable during holiday season, but these manners, these behaviors for making introductions, they are applicable in every situation, whether it's casual, whether it's family, whether it's business. There might be some differences when it comes to different cultures in international, making international introductions. That's a separate video. That's not for tonight, okay? So this is Lady Victoria again with Victoria School of Etiquette Training and Consulting, and those are the hot points on making introductions. Oh, one other thing I'd like to say, if I did not say it before, you always want to show deference. When I talked about always using the person's name, that is a sign of respect. So you show deference by using the person's name and using their title when and if it is applicable. Again, Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette Training and Consulting. This is my etiquette tip for the day. And if you are watching the video, please like and share. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you have questions or comments, please post them to the page. If you would like to ask me a question personally, please do so. You can inbox me or you could just leave it on the page. And I ask if you would use the hashtag, it is attached to the top of this video, Ask the Etiquette Lady. All one phrase, Ask the Etiquette Lady. It's a tracking device for me. So if you could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. Please like and share. So until next time, this is Lady Victoria signing off for now. I'll see you on the next go round.